Welcome back to the tutorial course on Android app development. In the previous lecture, we discussed how to fetch current weather details for the selected location using OWM API. In this section, we will discuss how to fetch weather details for the next 24 hours and next 5 days of the selected location. In this lecture, we will discuss the following: weather today, fetching weather details of the next 24 hours; weather this week, fetching weather details of the next 5 days. We will fetch the weather forecast information for the selected location. Just like the current weather API, we can use another API that is available for the 5-day, 3-hour forecast. We can then fetch the weather details for the next 24 hours and the next 5 days using this API. In the previous lectures, we created the fragments for loading weather information for the next 24 hours and the next 5 days. We need to open Android Studio and use the Weather Today fragment class. While creating the fragment, we need to pass the selected location as a parameter and keep the city name in the Weather Today fragment class. In the onCreateView method, we need to keep the view object Weather Today view as a global variable. This is required so that we can populate this view according to the service response. As per the requirement, the Weather Today fragment layout should look like this. We are calling the 5-day and 3-hour forecast service, and from the service response, we need to parse the weather information for 1 day, which means the next 24 hours. From the service response, we will need to update the icon image and use the temperature for all the times that occur in a day. With the 3-hour separation, we will get 8 results in a day. We will then populate the result in a list view. We will now create a Weather Today layout using the fragment weathertoday.xml fragment. Now we will add a relative layout element. After adding the relative layout element, we will create an image view at the top. We will also assign it the required width and height and center align it. Then, we will need to create a list view below the weather icon image. We will then create a drawable XML file called Layout Divider for showing the outline of the list view. In the XML file, we will define the shape, color, and stroke for the border and set the background for the list view. We will also assign the stroke width as 1 DIP. Then we will set the divider and divider height attributes for the list view to modify the divider color for the list view. The divider means the line between two cells in a list view. Finally, our layout is complete. We now need to create a list view object. Now, we will add the list view object inside the onCreateView method for populating the weather data later. We now need to create an adapter for populating the data in the list view object. On the next slide, we will learn to create a weather details list adapter. Moving ahead, we will create a weather details list adapter by extending the array adapter. After we get the response for today's weather data, we will store the temperature in a hash map object with weather data available times as the key. Now we will add the hash map to an array list and send the array list to the adapter for the list view to be filled in. In our scenario, we have 8 data points available in a day or 24 hours, each with 3 hours of separation. Therefore, we need to create an array list with 8 hash maps, and each hash map contains temperature as a value and time as the key. While creating the adapter, we will need to pass an array list of hash map, where the keys and values are the weather available time and corresponding temperature. It is important to note that a hash map is like a dictionary where we store data as a key value pair. We will need to keep the array list and current class object as a global variable. Now we need to create a layout XML file for one row in the list view object. We will create an XML file called listweatherdetails.xml and add 2 text views for the date and temperature to be displayed. Then, we will create the date text view at the left side with a margin. We will now create a temperature text view at the right side of this layout. Let's now go back to the adapter class. Here, we will create an object for the date and temperature text view and assign objects from the layout XML file. In the array list, we now have the n number of weather data available. We will now create a hash map object and take the weather hash map from the array list for the current position. As we already know, if an adapter has the n number of rows, the getView method will call the n times. From the map entry set, we will take the key and value and set them to the date and temperature text views. Finally, our adapter is ready for deployment. On the next slide, we will learn about the Weather Today fragment. Let's now understand the Weather Today fragment. Here, we will create an array list called Weather List that contains the entire temperature information for current day, which means for the next 24 hours. We will create a Weather Details List adapter object and pass the arguments such as current activity object, list view object, and array list of hash maps, which contains the entire temperature information for the next 24 hours. Set this adapter to the list view object.